helping God. That's what I've dubbed this section here, with the story of Abram, his wife Sarai, and their servant Hagar. I call it this because what we really see is that attitude. An attitude of them wanting to help God fulfill some promise. Now, we can be obedient to God. We can do the work of the Lord. We can be his servants. But we can't help God. So we need to remember that, because this kind of attitude that we're going to see in this chapter 16 of Genesis, is an attitude I think many take with them. Rather than trust in the promise of God, rather trusting in the sovereignty of God, they begin to want to do more to bring about the completion and promise and really the plan of the Lord themselves. So God had just finished pronouncing this blessing, this covenant upon Abram and his descendants. And yet he didn't see the fruition of it immediately with his wife being pregnant. So his wife thinks, well, maybe if he takes my maidservant and impregnates her, then this will be a way to fulfill the promise. So Abraham does, and then immediately his wife gets jealous that the maidservant she had given to her husband becomes pregnant, and she's pregnant. She's pregnant, and Sarai is not, and she sends her off. And then the angel of the Lord appears to Hagar and says, "No, go back," and even submit to Sarai, who had been mistreating her, because even in this, God cared for Hagar, right? Not for her to die out in the wilderness. And even in this, there's a plan. But I think for our intents and purposes today, it's to learn from this story, to say, if God promises something, he's going to bring it about. We need to be patient. We don't think of, oh, God promised this, well, maybe I'll help him out in this way. Maybe he'll bless my descendants. He promised that, right? But maybe it's not through me. Maybe it's through this person, and then we'll take their son, and then that'll be like our child to bless the nations. And that's how the Lord will do it. But that's not what the Lord promised. He didn't need help. And as we're going to see, Sarai will conceive, but in the Lord's time, not hers. May we also trust in the Lord. Be obedient, do his work, be his hands and feet, all these things. But we must never think that if we don't do something now, that therefore the work of the Lord will not get done.